Sé que me extrañas cada día. Si perdió el amor, lo siento, fue mala mía. Si fuera un cuento de fantasía, te llevaría a un paraíso y te besaría. Pero look at me, what in talking Spanish.
Hello and welcome yet again to another episode here at the Cardboard Cave podcast. And today we're going to be providing to you all the top 5 cards of the Spider-Man set. Because like we said in our previous podcast that we spoke about all of the situations that happened with Ultimate Guard. Besides the fact that we didn't cover all of the spoilers because there are too many cards on this set, we told you that we were, instead of reviewing or providing you 3 cards, we're going to provide you 5 cards instead. But as well, I do welcome you all to don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Like that you guys can get notified whenever we put in any new videos and any new content. As well, comment below what are your favorite cards on the Spider-Man set, and what do you expect that this set will do in the meta. So further ado, you will see throughout our episode, like always, we do have a couple of announcements of events that we're going to be assisting, and we will have trailers and whatnot appearing in the video, so like that you guys can be up to date with everything that we are going to be doing. So just a quick reminder, the biggest event that we have right now running is that we're going to be in the Portal experience on November 1st and 2nd en el Complejo Ferial de Ponce. So if you are in Puerto Rico, come and join us so that you can enjoy a great event where Jason Page, Austin St. John, and a lot of other special guests will be there for you, and a lot of events as well. So let's go ahead and bring in our favorite director. Like that, we can start web slinging on this set. So here you go, is Ale.
Hi, what's up?
How are you doing, Ale?
Ready to talk about Beyond the Omen Path cards. Right, that's what we're doing, right? Oh, this is a Spider-Man set? Oh, if I look at Arena, it doesn't look like a Spider-Man set at all. So
I totally forgot. While we were talking behind the scenes, you know, I in my mind I forgot to look for a specific card because okay, I found it really quickly, so we're good. So I have a specific card because I think before we get into our top 5 cards, I was analyzing the cards that are going to be available in this set, and I think that this set will go ahead and, like we always say, there is power creep, and then there is overly power creep sets, and Spider-Man is one of those overly power creep sets. And I say because right now in NTVG Goldfish, I don't know the position, but I know that mono red is around the top 10 of the decks that are mostly used in the meta. And I think that with Spider-Man and the upcoming Avatar set, me being an avid mono red player, I will say mono red is getting too much support in these upcoming 2 sets.
Getting a lot of cheap 1 and 2 drops. Very powerful. Exactly. 1 and 2 drops. Yeah.
So no further ado, guys, we're gonna jump in. We're gonna be presenting to you guys JP's top 5 cards. As soon as we present our top 5 cards, we're gonna talk about a little bit of what we think about the set, and then we do have JP is right now, not right now because he's not gonna be with us today. He has a very early trip tomorrow to another town here in Puerto Rico, so he couldn't be here with us. But he is brewing some commander decks for something special that we want to do for all of you. So just pay attention to our social media. So let's go ahead and jump in to JP's on top 5. These are JP's top 5. I don't have Norman Osborn's card here available with me.
He is unblockable and he connives.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what are the, I'm gonna see if I can let me look for the cards on my side. Like that, at least I can have an idea.
So JP's top 5 is Spider-Punk, which is funny. That was one of the cards I was going to talk about, but since he brought it up, I wasn't going to. But Spider-Punk is very, very strong. Either in standard or commander. Commander has a lot of utility, especially because of the last 2 keywords, the last 2 sentences it has. The spells and abilities that can be countered and damage can be prevented. For standard, however, it is very useful because it gives the ability of having Riot and gives your other spiders Riot too. And the damage also can be prevented, which I think goes very well with what you're saying about mono red having dominance in this upcoming couple of sets and this coming months because of stuff like Spider-Punk. I think it's very, very strong. Supporting parents, probably JP thought of some easy brew here. It's an enabler for web slinging. That much I can tell you. It also has the capabilities of doing a lot of shenanigans with tapping and untapping creatures. So you can produce a lot of mana if you know how to like work around it. Ancient Venom, it's 2 colorless and a black for a 2/3. It gives Flash Menace, and whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you draw a card and you lose a life. Obviously, for aristocrat builds, it's very good. For a lot of sacrifice decks, it's very good. There's also a Midnight Reaper, but basically with upside. It costs the same, although it is a legendary. It has Flash, which is very good. It can be a trick. Yes. Rent is Due is a very interesting card that he picked. It's a colorless. It's a white. 1 white enchantment that reads, at the beginning of your end step, you may tap 2 untapped creatures and or treasures you control. If you do, draw a card. Otherwise, sacrifice this enchantment. I guess me assuming as JP, either he enjoys the flavor, which I kind of do as well, or it's the ability of drawing, again, in a weird way in white, but giving another outlet, a very cheap outlet, to draw in white. Having creatures is generally something you can kind of do in white very easily, especially since it doesn't say non-token creatures, so it can be like token creatures you're tapping. If you're producing a lot of treasures, you can just sacrifice. You can not a sacrifice, but essentially use 2 treasures every turn to draw a card. So it's a cheap, very cheap white spell that allows you to draw. And Green Goblin, we all know what it does. The backside, I think, is the one that kind of matters. It allows you to have spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less, and each non-land in your graveyard has Mayhem, and the Mayhem cost is equal to the mana cost. And you may cast this card from your graveyard for its Mayhem cost. If it's discarded the turn, time ruling still applies. So, you use a lot of cards that allow you discard. Winds of Change, Wheel of Fortune, Windfall. You discard your whole hand. 1 for nothing, I think. The black card allows you to discard your whole hand. You discard your whole hand and everything's 2 mana cheaper. The cool thing about this card is it says spells you cast from graveyard costs 2 less to cast. This is not the mana cost. So, for example, if you have a flashback card that has colorless in its cost, you get to circumvent that. So it's even cheaper if it's like a flashback card, which is kind of interesting because of the way it's worded. So it has a lot of potential.
I completely agree. These cards, the cards that JP chose, Spider-Punk, I think.
You're very JP.
Yeah, JP chooses some interesting cards because we all know that he brews up some commander decks that you're like, you think your mind is like, nah, this is not gonna work. Boom, and it works. That's why JP is like our go-to. Like, hey, I want to upgrade my commander. What do you recommend? Quite. That one of the cards that I have in my top 5, I need to ask him because I want to add it in the Doctor Who commander, the War Doctor. So I want to add one of the cards. I need to ask him like, hey, how can I make this work? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mention Chris's top 5 cards. 1 second. Whoop, there we go. And Chris's top 5 cards. The first one is Spider-Woman, Stunning Savior. So for blue or white divided mana, and 1, you have a legendary creature, Spider-Human Hero, 2/2. That's flying and has an ability that's called Venom Blast. That artifacts and creatures your opponent controls enter tap. So you guys, we all know this is just a Hey Bear card. I think that's one of the things that he mentioned, that this is a card that he just likes because it hates the opponent. You know, makes your opponent suffer. And it's an interesting card. You know, I think that it would have been a little bit much more interesting if it would have had flash. I don't know, just to, you know, add something additional to the card, to make it like, you know, to have that aspect of like Spider-Man, you know, web slinging. It would have been cool to have like flash, just to like, hey, I'm gonna cast, I don't know, I was gonna say Mana Crypt, but Mana Crypt is banned. But you know, I'm gonna cast Mana Crypt, and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, in response, I cast Spider Woman, and it comes in tapped. Next card is Shadow of the Goblin. So for 1 and 1 red, you have an enchantment that has unreliable vision. At the beginning of your first main phase, discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And then it has Undying Vengeance. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each of your opponents. I really do like this card. Again, it goes to the synergy of the commander that I have with the War Doctor, that it cares a lot of putting cards in the exile and casting cards in anywhere in the deck. Next card is Symbiote Spider-Man for 2 and Demir, split colors, so it could be either one. It has you have a 2/4 that has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. And then it has an ability called Find New Host. So for same split mana, but with 2 colorless, you can exile this card from your graveyard, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It gains cards other abilities activate only as a sorcery. So you can do shenanigans with your creatures with this card. Next card you're coming in, it's your friendly spider dragon from from the arena set. So we have Cosmic Spider-Man. So for Urborg, you have a legendary creature, Spider-Man, Spider Human Hero, with that's a 5/5, has flying, first strike, trample, lifelink, haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, other spiders you control gain flying, flying, first strike, trample, lifelink, and haste until end of turn. So this is just a card that provides a lot of like keywords for all of your Spidey cards. This is a card to, you know, hey, play all of the legendary creatures that you want without no problem. So you can make the actual Spider-Verse commander
It's definitely your sign of the Earth spiders.
of the Earth Spiders, yes. And his last favorite card of the set is Mary Jane Watson. So for 1 and splice mana, let it be green or white, you have a 2/2 legendary creature human performer that says the following: whenever a spider you control enters, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. I don't know. What do you think about Chris's top 5?
He went very commandery, so obviously picking stuff like the Cosmic Spider-Man, some degree the Mary Jane Watson, because it allows you to draw. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Very, very diverse list. The red one is very Chris though. That's a very Timmy red player card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you guys know, Chris is our little goblin. He is our goblin.
That's true.
He
Yes,
is our
yes.
goblin. So Ale, here we are with your top 5 cards.
So we have Spider Sense. It's a colorless and a blue for an instant that has web slinging. You play 1 blue instead. It gets to counter target instant spell, sorcery spell, or triggered ability. I think it might have a lot of potential for commanders specifically, having a 1-costed counter spell that lets you stop instant sorcery speeds or especially trigger abilities, which is something you don't generally have a lot of. Having potentially a 1-costed counter for a lot of variety. Sure, it's not a strict negate. It's not a spell pierce or whatever. So perhaps it's not as powerful. but I think it has a lot of playability and a lot of potential. I think it's the only web slinging card that costs 1 mana out of the whole set. So there's obviously a lot of potential in that regard. I think it's very strong. It's very versatile, especially the triggered ability. Like, I cannot stress how crucial that could be in certain matchups, especially right now. Itali is dominating a lot of CDH. Having the ability to stop an Itali for 1 mana from its triggered ability seems very, very strong. So the next one is the one card that doesn't really feel like a Spider-Man card at all, is the Soul Stone. It's one colorless in a black for a legendary artifact Infinity Stone. It's indestructible. You get to tap it for 1 black. You pay 6 colorless and a black to tap it, exile a creature you control, and you harness the Soul Stone. Once harnessed, it has this Infinity ability is activated. And the Infinity ability is, at the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's going to be a staple in every single deck imaginable. It is a 2-mana rock that has upside. Sure, it's limited to 1 color, but potentially if you're playing that 1 color, 2 colors, 3 colors at the most, maybe 4 color to 5 color, but perhaps from 1 color to 3 color, this is going to be a must include. It's really strong. It's versatile. It just has upside. It's very commandery. It could see potential standard play. We don't usually get a lot of mana rocks nowadays, especially 2 mana costed mana rocks. It's gonna be the hot card of the set. It's a mythic. It's gonna be pretty expensive. Commander players are gonna want it. Standard players might want it too. Doing the ability of harnessing the Soul Stone, you can do that whenever you want. It's not limited to sorcery speed, so you can do it at the end of someone's turn, and then your upkeep, you get to reanimate someone. It just has upside. It's very, very strong. The next one is Iron Spider.
Put people in a sense. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no.
Right now, the Thanos version of this card is going for $750 something.
Yep.
In pre-order, and the full art I think is going somewhere like in the 500s as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be expensive. Like, for sure, it's gonna dip. It probably dip to like 80 or something. But then it's gonna go up. Especially because even though it's gonna be a set, it's gonna be for the next 3 years in rotation. And also, something to note, it'll be probably easier to acquire the Soul Stone and actually all these cards in general for sort of cheaper, because unlike stuff like Final Fantasy in previous sets, the collector boosters don't have a serialized card, which means they can print way more. They can print to demand. It'll be more available, and theoretically, nothing's going to be super uber expensive.
Yeah.
So it'll be easier theoretically to acquire the Soul Stone, but it'll still be pretty expensive because a lot of people are going to want it.
They should have done a 1 of 1.
Thank God they didn't do it though. Like, could you imagine? Like, I'm so thankful they didn't think of that, because that was an easy one to do. I'm thankful they didn't think of that, because that would have been insane.
Yeah, I
It would have
completely
made
agree.
them very expensive, and Post Malone would have had them all. So then, what's the point? Okay, so then you have Iron Spider, Stark upgrade, 3 colorless for a legendary artifact creature, Spider Hero. It's a 2/3, has vigilance. Tap it, put a 1/1 counter on each artifact, creature, and or vehicle you control. So it's basically a Steel Overseer effect. Pay 2 colorless, remove 2 1/1 counters from among artifacts you control, draw a card. The reason why I picked this is I love my artifact decks, and this one provides something very different from the usual fare of artifact decks. So generally, artifact decks, especially when they're colorless, generally either gravitate towards stuff like Mirror or similar things to that, or you go colorless in the sense of Eldrazi. You don't have something that actually cares strictly about artifact creatures and, weirdly enough, vehicles. And it has upside, so you put a lot of counters on it. So you're essentially having a sort of more expensive Steel Overseer, but it hits vehicles as well. And then you get to use all those counters to draw cards. And the fact that you don't have to tap to draw cards, you just need to remove the counters, is that if you find a way to proliferate counters, which is very easy to do in this type of build, you get to draw a bunch of cards and get a lot of gas and a lot of value in colorless. So it's very interesting. It's a good workaround, build around card. And it has potential to do cool things. The next one is Madame Web Clairvoyant. It's an uncommon. It's a weird card that I'm choosing, but I'll explain why. It's 4 colorless and 2 blue for a 4/4. Legendary creature, mutant advisor. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast spider spells or non-creature spells from the top of your library. Whenever you attack, you may mill a card. So this is basically a future sight ability where you can see the top card of your library and you get to cast it if it's the appropriate one based on what Madame Web is requiring. The spider spell is not important. What I found interesting was the non-creature spells from the top of your library. That's like 2/3 of your deck generally, especially in a blue deck. That's most of your cards in your deck. So it has a lot of potential. It's cool too, even though it's sort of expensive. That's the thing why it's kind of limiting. It's 6 mana, even though it's a body for 6 mana. It sucks paying 6 mana so it could die very quickly with like a Doomblade. But theoretically, a future sight that lets you cast 2/3 of your deck from the top. And if for some reason you have something stuck like a land on top, you get to attack and get rid of the top card so then you can keep casting the things on top of your deck. I think it's very cool. It's another future side mystic. I forgot the artifact version, Mystic Forge type of ability. It's a little more expensive, but if you have a Sensei's infinite combo, very easy to do. The last one is Lady Octopus, Inspired Inventor. It is a 1 blue pip for a 0/2 legendary creature, human scientist villain. Whenever you draw your first or second card each turn, put an ingenuity counter on Lady Octopus. You may tap it to cast an artifact spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the number of ingenuity counters on Lady Octopus without paying its mana cost. This is an Aether Vial for artifact spells. So, and it's very cheap. You play it turn 1. You start drawing cards either in your turn or on their turn for your first or second card this turn. So naturally, when you draw, you're getting an ingenuity counter. If you play something that allows you to draw again, you connive, you do whatever, you get the second counter. You get to tap it the next turn. You get to tap it to play something that's two mana. If for some reason you're drawing cards on each other opponent's turns, it starts building very crazily. So by turn 3 or 4, you can start casting 9 drops, 10 drops. You can start casting stuff like Portal to Phyrexia very, very early and start dominating the game very quickly. Lady Octopus is very cool. It's sort of another inspired mono blue Artifacts Matters commander, sort of like an Emery. This very not similar in effect, but in terms of build arounds, it sort of feels like another type of Emery deck where instead of reanimating your artifacts, you're casting big artifacts very quickly from the top of your deck. So I like it a lot. I think it's very cool, very interesting. That's definitely a card I would love to like build a deck for. Like I can just use the excess stuff that I used to have for my Emery deck and stick it on this deck, and I'm pretty sure you can get a lot of value for it. So you're just naturally drawing a lot and then just playing a lot of stuff. So I think it's very cool. So those are my top 5.
We have noticed, people, that besides the fact that Ale likes to play blue,
Yes.
he has a thing for artifacts.
Yes, I found them. I know they were there. I found all the artifact stuff.
I think that if we ever, there's something that I will clip this and we will tag the person, but oh man, I don't remember her name. And the thing is that I just saw an episode of a new show.
Mhm.
Oh, here we go. I love the fact that what I was talking about. I have it right here in
Okay.
Olivia. You
Oh.
you and Olivia should be good friends. So in this case, Olivia,
Mhm.
please contact us like that we can collab and you can
Yes,
do
please.
like, I don't know, you both can just kill each other with artifacts.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Yes, just I know I'm not I know I'm somebody that I don't mind plugging things if they are really good, because we plug the professor all the time.
Yeah.
And other creators of Magic the Gathering creators, but Ben Batesman has a new show called Chaos Drafting, with every Magic the Gathering pack ever.
Nice.
So he already posted the second episode today, and they are giving away special cards in every episode. The first giveaway was a Wheel of Fortune.
Ooh, awesome.
And in this episode is a Surge foil One Ring.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
the only thing you have to do is be subscribed, like the video, and as well comment in the video.
Nice.
And if you guys want to enjoy Chaos Draft, that is something that I am going to talk to the guys throughout this week to see if we get into that, because there is there is a store that in the States that does ship these Chaos Draft boxes, and we can play with 4 players.
Nice.
With a different type of ruling. So but yeah, if you guys want to check them out, go ahead and check them out. Just go to Ben Bates YouTube channel. So yeah, Olivia, contact us, please. We need a Commander episode with both of you together, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
So, are you looking for the #1 local game store here in Puerto Rico? I got it for you. It's called Titan Games. They are located in Caguas and in Rio Piedras. As well, they have their own website, titanhobbygames.com. There you guys can find your favorite TCGs and much more in their website. That's not all. Just pass by. Every week there's an event, and there's a lot of things you can do with Titan Games. All of their information are in the description below, so pass by and check them out. Okay, guys, so here is my top 5 cards. I'm going to go ahead and start with Gwen Stacy. That is one of the cards that I have been really highlighting since the set came out. So Gwen Stacy does the following. Gwen Stacy goes ahead, is a 2-drop, 2/1, that when it enters the battlefield, it exiles the top card of my library, and I can play that card as long as I control Gwen Stacy. As well, I can transform Gwen Stacy, paying Jeskai and 2, and I can only transform her as a sorcery. When I do transform Gwen Stacy, she transforms to Ghost Spider. Ghost Spider has Flying, Vigilance, Haste, and it says the following: whenever you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, put a 1/1 counter on Ghost Spider. As well, if you remove 2 counters, you can exile the top card of your library, and you may play that card this turn. The reason why I chose Gwen Stacy and Ghost Spider is because it matches, it plays along really well with the War Doctor commander that I have. Obviously, I do need to add blue, like that I can actually play Ghost Spider, but that's fine, because being the fact that the War Doctor, I can use K9 as a Doctor companion, that adds the Jeskai combo, because the War Doctor is Boros and K9 is blue, so I can be able to play Gwen Stacy and Ghost Spider. Obviously, being the fact that we're going to be adding blue, I need to change a lot of things from the deck, like that I can have a combination of like good counter cards, but as well maintain that aspect of the deck where I exile things from the top of my library to get those time counters, but as well synergize with my other cards that probably will like to see these cards out. The reason why most of these cards make sense into what I want to build in the War Doctor's commander. So my next card is Multiversal Passage. It's a land. As this land enters, choose a basic land type. Then you may pay 2 life. If you don't, it enters tap. This land is the chosen type. So the reason why I like this card is because it fixes any color that I need at the moment. So if I need blue, I can make it an island. If I need red, I can make it a mountain. If I need white, I can make it a plains. So that's the reason why I like it. And the fact that you can choose to either pay 2 life or not, it's great, because besides the fact that you're not fetching, but it's still a card that can provide the lands that I need, the land color that I need. So it's a good mana fixing, especially good for commander, because the fact that it's not legendary land or nothing, it's great. It only provides you one color. That I know that that's a downside, but it's a card that you can, you can look for, not look for, but you can have in the 99, and it can help you out with that missing color that you might need. The next card is one that when it was spoiled, I loved it. So it's Interdimensional Web Watch. When this artifact enters, exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. But that's not the fun part. The fun part is that you can tap this card and add 2 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast spells from exile. That is what caught my attention. The fact that it provides me 2 mana for casting things from exile. Again, we're going back to Commander, and this is a very great Commander card for the War Doctor. Because the fact that I play a lot of cards from exile, because that's what I want to do. I want to play cards from exile. This is a great card that I can add, and I can have like any combination of colors to play those cards that I have in exile. So that's one of the reasons why I got this is in my top 5. I really do love the card for the War Doctor. And as well, and I'm going to continue, because the thing is that all of these cards, I just got to say it, all of these cards are meant for the War Doctor. Next card is Araña, Heart of the Spider. So for 1 in Boros, you have a legendary creature, spider human hero, 3/3, that says whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. For 3 mana, you have a 3/3 that whenever it attacks, you put a counter on a creature. And if that creature is modified, it exiles a top card of your library. Whenever it deals combat damage. The greatest part about this is the following. If I have the War Doctor modified, the War Doctor already has a attack trigger ability that I can exile cards from top of my library until I think it's until I see a non-creature spell. Being the fact that if the War Doctor hits with combat damage, I can exile an additional card. Yes, perfect. I can say, I think that the biggest number I've exiled with the War Doctor is around like 4 cards. So imagine exiling 5. You exile 4 because of his ability, an additional 1 because he hit combat damage. So that is super great. Now, this is a card that as soon as I read it, I was stoked, and first thing that came into mind was the fact that this card for standard is pretty darn broken. Electro Assaulting Battery. For 1 colorless and 2 red, you have a legendary creature human villain with flying. It's a 2/3. And then it says the following. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, add a red mana. Whenever Electro leaves the battlefield, you may pay X. When you do, he deals X damage to target player. Now, with everything that you have there as information, Electro cares about instants and sorceries. The reason why I say that mono red is going to be having a big power creep is because the fact that you gain additional red mana while casting instants and sorceries, and you don't lose it between the phases, that is a major issue. The reason why I say it is because in the Avatar, The Last Airbender set, there is an enchantment called Fated Firepower. So Fated Firepower is an enchantment that says that costs 3 mana and X has flash. And then it says this enchantment enters with X fire counters on it. If a source you control will deal damage to an opponent or a permanent, an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus an amount of damage equal to the number of fire counters on this enchantment. So my idea here is this is where I go ahead and say,
Mm.
let's say that you cast we have shock is back
Yeah.
shock is back, so we have
Yep.
shock. I think lightning strike is as well available
Not
in standard.
sure. Not
I
sure.
don't know, but I don't know, but I think if it's not,
Chalk
it's
is
fine.
definitely here because it's a pun. So
It's a
Chalker
fun,
has chalk. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have shock back, and the fact that there's a lot of like other red cards that you can use to destroy creatures
Mhm.
or do additional damage to your opponent. The fact that you can play these cards, if you have Electro, let's say that you played a bunch of shocks or a bunch of like small small instants and sorceries in your next turn when you already have Electro in play,
Yep.
you will have around 5 to 6 mana available in the upcoming phases.
Mhm.
If by any chance you're about to end the game, let's say you attack before damage, you use all of that mana to activate the enchantment from Avatar, and
Mhm.
let's say that X equals 3. Let's put it a small number because it costs 3 mana and X.
Yep.
Whatever damage you do to your opponent, he will receive that exact same number plus 3 more.
Yep.
So Wizard of the Coast is actually making sure that red is going to be pretty heavy. The fact that you have Spider Punk as well in the mix,
Mhm.
it's going to be crazy. You know, it's going to mono red is going to be a crazy deck in standard. And me thinking about it, I'm like, I think I should get back into standard just because mono red is going to be a crazy
Yep.
is going to be crazy, you
Yep.
know. So Ale,
Mhm.
what do you think about the set? Are you excited about the set? And what are your final thoughts?
Um, the set is interesting. I mean, I like Spider-Man. I've always liked Spider-Man. It's one of the few Marvel characters that I actually enjoy. I'm more of a DC guy. So when you put Batman, that's when you're gonna see me running to get the cards. For this one, there's some interesting things I want to get. Um, but it'd be interesting just talking about the discourse around it. Like Seth from MTG Goldfish and the professor talked about the fact that they did not enjoy Spider-Man and its implementation into like the bigger world of Magic the Gathering. And I think I agree. I know that when we were talking about what was the horror set? I forgot the name of it already.
Dustmorn.
Dustmorn. When Dustmorn came out, I remember being like, it's weird to have vacuums. It's weird to have TVs. I think this is a step too far. But I think it was either the professor or Seth so eloquently said that those type of sets were the ones that allowed Spider-Man to get to the universe of Magic. Like it wasn't something that I was like out of nowhere. It was slowly trickled in and slowly massaged into acceptance by the community, where you can have pigeons, where you can have bagels, where you can have film cameras in the world of Magic the Gathering. And it's maybe a bit too far. I feel like some people said that the implementation of Magic's mechanics into the cards are not well designed some of the time. I don't fully agree. I think they did a generally good job of implementing mechanics that we already have into the Spider-Man cards, with the exception of them not having reach. But I understand from like a set standpoint, you can have all these characters have reach just because in the Magic lore, spiders have reach. But I think in general, they did a good job trying to capture, in its majority, trying to capture what these cards would feel in the world of Magic the Gathering. That being said, I think this should have just been what it originally was going to be, which was sort of an aftermath type of set where it was going to be more Assassin's Creed like than a standard set. They had to scramble and add cards, and they already admitted to this, so it's not like we're speculating here. They admitted that this was originally going to be like a sort of aftermath type set. But then since Assassin's Creed didn't do so well, they had enough time to course correct to some degree and add a bunch more cards, especially the commons and sort of the uncommons, because if it's supposed to be an aftermath set, it was only going to have uncommons, rares, and mythics. By adding the commons and some of the uncommons, we know that those cards were the afterthoughts of the set. It's very clear. If you realize it's not more Spider-Man, although there's some, it's mostly freaking pigeons or the people or like New Yorker people. Like it's weird. It's like a hot dog cart is a card. So I think they and it's weird because you're gonna have way more Marvel sets in the future. I think having full-on sets is the thing that's sort of lore breaking out of all of this, because somehow you need to sort of justify how Spider-Man came into this world. And even though it's called Universes Beyond, by having it in standard, you're forced to have these cards in competitive formats. You're forced to show this in Pro Tours. It's weird, and I think WotC is very aware of this. There's going to be, I think, a Pro Tour near, like coming soon. I think it was either a MagicCon or a Pro Tour. It's coming soon.
MagicCon is coming soon. It's going to be MagicCon Atlanta is next week.
Exactly. And you know what they're not having? Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They're having what is it again? The last set. They're having
Avatar.
No, they're not having Avatar. They're having Edge of Eternities again. They're just having Edge of Eternities, which already was a dicey set because you're having spaceships and whatever. But you know, whatever. They found a way to sort of implement it in the larger world of Magic.
Yeah,
but I think yeah, well, I don't like Edge of Eternities either. So that's, you know. But I digress. I think it's bizarre for them to not even have this set be draftable, but that's because they're aware that it was never meant to be draftable. They're forcing these ideas, and I don't know if it's coming from Hasbro or if it's coming from WotC, this idea of forcing people having to engage with this on a competitive level that will inevitably probably kill their standard format. Because by having these cards, by having a format that is not changing a lot, because now you have Vivi, so these cards are not going to change the Vivi wave. So get these cards now because they're probably going to be cheap. And if they're expensive, they're only expensive because of Commander. They should have just had these be 5 Commander decks. Hell, you know what? Have 10 Commander decks. Whatever, you know, have 5 heroes, 5 villains, and just put all these cards in those decks. And it would have been much better. At best, I could have accepted the idea of the mini set if it wasn't prohibitively expensive like they did with Assassin's Creed. That's why no one cares about Assassin's Creed. It was expensive and it didn't have any value. But if they would have done something like that, but way cheaper, or if they would have done just 10 Commander decks or whatever, people would have responded to this way more positively. People were more accepting of stuff like Doctor Who, Warhammer, because they were just Commander decks. And even though they were a little odd, especially Doctor Who, they found a way to implement them in a way where it sort of felt cohesive to Magic. Spider-Man, it's very weird. It's just too weird. But you know, there's cool cards. I like some of the mechanics. I wish it would have been Madness instead of Mayhem, but I guess the flavor win is having Mayhem because they're causing, like, the spider people are causing mayhem. It's cool to see these characters. I know a lot of people are going to buy into this because of the characters. I would like to brew a deck or two with the spider people. It'd be kind of fun, actually having like a sort of lore-centric build of a Spider-Man deck with like only Spider-Man cards, like obviously it'd be kind of fun. But I think it just came down to greed, and I think Avatar is going to be the same thing. Avatar will be better implemented into Magic because of its fantasy lore and setting and design. Like it allows you to feel more like it's a Magic set than Spider-Man. But this set, Spider-Man set, and the Avatar set seem very greedy to me. They don't have commander decks, and I think they're by design because these sets clearly were meant for commander players. And they just made commander decks, but they just stuck them in a set that now you have to buy individual cards for in order to build the decks that you wanted to build in the first place. So yeah.
I completely agree with everything that Alice says. It I think that it could have worked with what like they did to with Warhammer, with Fallout, and with Doctor Who. Here are a couple of commander decks. You will get a collector booster box if you're interested in like getting them in a different treatment of foiling, or if you want to get like the collector's edition. I think that Doctor Who didn't have collector edition commander decks. I think that was the only one that didn't get collector edition ones. That was really
Yeah.
weird though. I didn't thought about that, but it worked. And the thing is that being the fact that you're making right now, you have Spider-Man. Next is Avatar. We don't know what's gonna come next. What's the upcoming next sets? I know that we're getting more Marvel sets, but now there's a bigger issue in this. All of these fans that you provided them commander decks, they are asking questions in your panels like, hey, when are we going to revisit Fallout? When are we going to revisit Doctor Who? When are we going to revisit Warhammer as a set? Because all of these IPs have a lot of lore, and obviously, in each commander deck, you put as much lore that you could in each one, and that's great. But you will have fans asking the questions because you have Lord of the Rings, you have now Spider-Man, you have Avatar coming in next. You probably will have Star Trek as well. Star Trek or Star Wars. As your next said, Star Wars, I doubt it because Star Wars Unlimited exists. But still, there might be a chance. But I do completely agree. I think that these Universe Beyond sets would have worked as
Mhm.
either a lot of commander decks or, like Ale mentioned, the Assassin's Creed sets. That the Assassin's Creed set didn't work because it had no value. You know, you had cards that didn't add to didn't add to the format. You know, you had a set that didn't add for commander, didn't add for standard or for other formats. So that's why people were like, oh, okay, cool, that it exists, but we don't care. And as well, it was pretty expensive. Pre-orders prices were expensive as well. Nobody cared about the secret layers because you tested a good IP, but you didn't provide it cards that people got to care about. And
Yep.
that's the thing. When
Mhm.
we as players, we care about cards. And this isn't all trading card games, because when you play competitive, you fall in love with a play style or with a deck. You know, in an example, a lot of people in Pokemon, they play either Dragapult or Grimmsnarl or um, Gardevoir. Those are like the top decks. But for instance, myself, I like to play Mewtwo. Mewtwo is not a top 20 Pokemon deck, but I like it. I like how it plays. It's fun, you know. And if we talk about Magic, I like playing Red, even though I can play any play style,
Mhm.
but I like playing Red, you know. And when you see Ale, myself, JP, and Chris, you see that we play in Commander, we play different play styles. And for instance, I do have aggro decks. I do have mid mid-level decks that I get to
Mhm.
I get to play at in turn 5, that's when I go off. Or when we go to like CDH, I play Shurikai, a control stacks commander that
Yep.
it's way off of my play style. Wizard of the Coast, you just need to, I don't know if it's Wizards or is it Hasbro. You guys have created Magic the Gathering, the Fortnite of TCG, even though you did one of your first secret layers was Fortnite, but you guys have to start caring about the players, because if this continues, you have decks in standard that cost $1,000.
Yep. It's
and
crazy.
and it, when you get to that level, if I'm gonna waste $1,000 to make a deck, I'd rather play Modern
Yep.
or Pioneer.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna waste $1,000 in standard, because I know that in a couple of months
The meta's gonna shift,
it's
or
gonna shift,
your card is gonna get banned because
or
obviously
your
it's too
card's gonna
strong.
get banned.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that is my cup of tea in regards to Spider-Man. I do like a couple of the cards, like I mentioned. Most of the cards are for Commander, and like I said, if I would get into like standard, I would play mono red, and I don't care if people are like, "Oh, mono red is automatic play." No, it's not. Mono red, you need to know how to play your cards right.
Mhm.
Mono red, it's you can have the gas pedal flooring it completely, but if you play the cards too fast, you're out of gas, and then you don't know, you're stuck, and then Alec can go ahead and say, "Hey, I'm gonna beat you with my, I don't know, with my weenie deck or with my big 6/6, because all my cards are counters." That it's not automatic. All decks have a strategy to play.
Yep.
No deck is automatic.
Mhm.
It can play the same over and over, but it's not
Yep.
automatic. So I just got to say, I'm not going to say that Wizard of the Coast, you need to go back to your drawing board, because you have already all these things slated out for years, but you have to sit down and think about who plays your game, because when Spider-Man comes out, you have two type of players. You have the people that play competitive and play Commander, and then you have collectors, the people that just want to collect the cards, have a master set, and be like, "Yes, I have all of the cards from the Spider-Man set because he's my favorite superhero," or whatnot. And then you have kids that want to get into the game. So three types of players. You have to pay attention to that audience, not only to making money. Because with Spider-Man, with Final Fantasy, and with Avatar, y'all already did your quorum for this year. Collector boosters of Spider-Man are going for $900. $900 one booster box, one collector booster box. And almost 200 your play boosters are going for 200. One single booster collector booster pack cost $80. It's out of it's just out of proportion. But hey, you guys, when things hit the fan, you guys will figure out what you're gonna do next. So nothing. Ale, tell me, where can the people find you? You're muted.
You can find me here talking about marvelous cardboard with you guys. Are gonna be fun. We're gonna be interesting seeing how next couple of weeks go in terms of standard, in terms of the set, the impact the set's gonna have, or the lack of impact the set might have. Um, you can also find me in Cinemas Podcast. I'm going to be covering, hopefully, the New York Film Festival in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to be seeing a bunch of movies. You can see my coverage, my immediate coverage on Instagram and on Twitter. And then over the next couple of weeks, I'll start having reviews up of all the movies I saw. I'm planning on seeing 15 to 20. We'll see. And I'll see a couple of extra movies while I'm over there too. I already have my tickets to see one battle after another on 70 millimeter IMAX. So it'll be interesting to see that movie the first day of release. So yeah, just follow my coverage. But John, where can the people find you?
So before I say all of my social media, I do got to say to each and one of you, Titan Games, our sponsor,
Mhm.
will have the Spider-Man pre-release from the 19th to the 21st of September. So don't miss out. Go to their social media pages so that you guys can reserve your spot. It could be either Caguas or Rio Piedras as well. This week, if you guys are into Pokemon,
Mm.
the pre-release for the Pokemon Mega Evolution is on Saturday in Caguas and on Sunday in Rio Piedras. So if you guys want to go ahead and play some Pokemon or play Magic the Gathering, those are the dates for the pre-release. And as well, you guys can find me here in the Cardboard Cave podcast or in all of our social media as well, talking about the amazing cardboard. So if you guys want to just write to us or collab, just send us a message or an email. Me and Ale will be the ones that will be assisting your messages. And as well, if you guys want to see my coverage on different film festivals online, you guys can follow me at Real in Films. I post in Instagram my blurbs, and then I post all of my reviews on YouTube. I do have an upcoming interview that will be released. I think it will already be released when this goes live. So if you guys want to see an interview with the filmmaker Spencer Cohen from the film The Compatriots, go ahead and check it out at Real in Films. So nothing, guys. We will go ahead and see you all in the next one, web slinging or probably riding an ABBA. So see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Until I cut it, bala pa tu cabeza, para delicadeza, habla la realeza, salva naturaleza, method for your mentalities, kill them with no fatalities, happy with all the cannabis, welcome to your reality.